You attend a class from a speaker probably most of you have never heard of, and a topic called Connectology, which probably leaves something to the imagination. Why would you occupy this space and time to be in here?
Sounded interesting.
Sounded interesting. Relationships? Okay. What else? Social what?
We're social beings.
Social, okay, we're social beings. Why else?
Sales.
Sales.
Yeah, making money.
There you go. Good.
Trust.
Trust. What else? I'm sorry? Who else?
Live longer.
Live longer. Ladies and gentlemen, let me just ask you another question. How important would a great connection be to your life, to your business, to your health, to your relationships? How great would a great connection be? How important would that be to that area of your life? On a scale of 1 to 10. 10? And the reason I ask that is because some people don't realize how important a great connection is. They look at networking as connecting. And I have a tagline, and I don't mean to offend any professional networkers, but I say that networking's for amateurs. Connecting's for professionals. See, connecting is all about, do you see the person as a person, or do you see them as a vehicle to make money with? Matter of fact, there's a question that everyone asks, or it seems that everyone asks this, when you approach someone at a networking event or a social environment. What is that question? What do you do? Here's the problem with that question, is it is all about what they do, it's not about who they are. And when you ask a bad question, you get what kind of answer? A bad answer. If I want you to say the number 5, but I keep asking you what 2 plus 2 is, whose fault is it that you keep answering the wrong answer? Whose? Mine, because I keep asking the wrong question. And see, most people don't even understand that we're going through life asking the wrong question, and we keep getting the wrong answer, and we keep getting frustrated by it, and we keep getting pissed off at everybody else except for us when we're the ones asking the wrong question. A better question would be something that gives me some insight into who you are. For example, let me just share some. What's your name?
Irene.
Irene, I'm Bob. Nice to meet you. You know, when I meet somebody, I like to ask them a question that tells me a little bit about who they are more than what they do. So, you know, that normal question that everyone asks. I'm going to avoid that one. So do you mind if I ask you a different type of question?
Of course.
I have never been told, no, I want the same old question that everyone else asks me. Never has anyone ever said that to me. And if they always say, well, sure. Because one, it piques their interest. Do you think she's likely to forget me right then? Do you think that do you think that I'm going to stand out a little bit differently than everyone else in the room who's asking, what do you do? What do you do? So where are you from? Yeah. Right? I'm going to stand out differently. Isn't that the importance when you're trying to make a connection? That you want to stand out? You want to be remembered? Well, she wants to be remembered too. So guess what? I'm going to ask her a question that's going to engage me in a conversation and let me know a little bit more about who she is than what she does. So Irene, if you could wake up tomorrow morning and go anywhere in the world, and I mean anywhere. I mean someplace that you have like on your vision board, you have all over the house, this is the place I want to go. Where would you go and who would you take with you?
The island of Palau with my husband.
Palau with your husband. Why Palau?
Because it's relaxing.
Have you been there before?
No.
Never been there before. But you know it's relaxing because?
Friends and family have recommended it.
Awesome, awesome. And your husband, how long have you been married?
6 years.
6 years. Congratulations.
Thank you.
What do I know about her now? In the same amount of time that it would take somebody to ask them, what do you do? And then to tell you, I'm a plumber. Or whatever they're going to say. What do I know about her? Yes?
You know, she's married for
She's
6 years.
married for 6 years?
The type of vacation she likes to take are relaxing ones, and she made that based upon recommendations by family or friends.
Awesome. What else?
She said everything.
Yeah, she did. She nailed it. She nailed a lot of stuff. What else do I know about her, though? Let's think of characteristics now. Is she adventurous? Okay. Does she believe in commitment?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Does she believe in partnership?
Mm-hmm.
Think about this. If you're looking for a client, how many of you guys are looking for clients? Or you're looking for prospects somewhere in your life? Doesn't it make sense that you want a certain level of commitment or a certain level of quality among those people that you're looking for? See, I do this. I do seminars to CEOs and Fortune 500 companies, professional athletes, people in the entertainment industry, you name it. And it's always funny, but they always say, well, here's the type of individual I'm looking for. I bet if you're looking for a boyfriend or a girlfriend, you kind of have some criteria that you're looking for, correct? If you have a client, do you have criteria that you're looking for? If you don't, you should. You should have a criteria that says this is the type of client. I know, how many of you guys know Jim Rohn before he passed away? Jim Rohn, great business and mind and life philosopher. One of his statements was, he said, if you will become, Irene, you can attract. If you'll become, you can attract. It doesn't say go out and attract it and then you'll just become that. If you'll become, you can attract. So if you want a certain type of individual, if I want a client who's really committed and plays all in and full out, then I have to become that first, and then I'll start attracting that to me. Does that make sense? Yes, it makes great sense. And the challenge is most of us are sitting there worrying about, well, if once I make a lot of money, man, I'm going to start giving money away. I'm going to start helping a lot of people when I make a lot of money. The problem with that is you've got to start giving money away in order to start attracting it or to start attracting the same type of individual. And see, most of us are out there trying to get something that we're not willing to become. So when I ask Irene the question about who she is, and I'm learning things about her, I'm learning she's committed. Well, if that's one of my criteria for engaging with somebody of the opposite sex or engaging with a client or something, that's a huge thing for me to learn. Now, if I ask you, what do you do?
I work with my husband.
Work with your husband, and what does he do? What do you do?
We sell home organizational products.
Home organizational products. Okay, so right off the bat, I'm sitting here going, unless I can use that, right? Unless I need home organizational products, there's really nowhere to go with that. But here's the other question. Here's the other reason we ask the question, what do you do? Because it's not so much of what they do that can serve us, it's what we do that can serve them. So let me just tell you right now that whenever you're asking that question, whenever you're making a statement and asking a question of what do, you are making that about you. You're making it all about you. It's a very self-serving and a very selfish proposition. Now, I know there'll be people in this room that argue because I get this argument a lot. No, I'm trying to be inquisitive. I'm trying to show them an interest. Bull. You know the other word. You're not. If you're just really honest, you're looking to say, hey, look, I'm just too lazy to be more creative and think of a better question. So I'm willing to settle for the answer that I get because, you know, it really doesn't matter whether I connect with him or not. Let me throw something out at you. If you knew that the person you were talking to and connecting with or attempting to connect with, if you knew, if there was a sign or a message or a memo sent from home from them or a download from God himself, whatever it is, if there was a way that you knew that when you met and connected, that if they didn't feel valued and they didn't feel connected and they didn't feel appreciated and didn't feel seen, that they were going to leave your presence and they were going to commit suicide. How many of you would pay closer attention to really making a connection? Yes? And see, that's what I'm asking you. People in this world today are literally starving to death, hoping that somebody in the course of a day will just make eye contact with them and go, oh my gosh, it's another human being. They're sick and tired of all the people walking around going, hi, what's your name? How do you say your name?
Deepa.
Deepa, nice to meet you. Irene, nice to meet you. Hi, what's your name? Hi, what's your name? Hi, what's your name? Hi, what do you do?
I work for telecommunications.
Okay, and what do you do? People are sick and tired of it. Folks, there's literally people today, I can guarantee you in the next 30 days, you will come in the presence of someone who is feeling at such a low point in their life that they're thinking about taking their own. If you do nothing more than just make a connection with people, you watch and see what happens to your business. Your business will skyrocket. Your business will take off. Your relationship will take off. You know why? Because you're another human being just like them, and you have the same need that they do. To have that, who said we're social? Social. We're very social. We want to feel valued. There's 6 basic human needs, and you can look them up online. They're all over the place. But one is significance. How many of you want to feel significant? Okay, and how many of you are liars? If you didn't raise your hand, you're lying to yourself. Okay? At least he's honest about that one. And I say that facetiously, but folks, just get real. The number one connection you'll ever make with anyone on this planet is going to be you. When you look in the mirror in the morning, is it one of those bad hair days? Is it one of those days where you go, oh man, it's going to be another one of those days? And I don't know. We've got to learn the value of connection. Connection is so much more than just exchanging of a business card. Give you another tip on connecting. Don't ever pass out your business card without being asked for it. It reeks in the face of what most networkers do. They pass out business cards like it's just paper. I don't give my business card out unless it's asked for. And it's not an ego thing, but look, let's just face it. If it's not asked for, what's the odds that they're going to keep it? What's the odds that it means anything more to them than just another thing to stick on their desk and maybe make it as far as into their computer and maybe into a database and maybe into a CRM and maybe at some point I might get another follow-up from them. Unless they ask the question, what do you do? And all of a sudden I answered the magical equation to them that said, cha-ching, I'm going to make money if I recontact this person. Don't give your business card out so freely. I have this statement, and it's said facetiously in some senses, but the essence of it is the truth. Make them earn it. Make them earn your business card. Make it of some value. If it's of some value, do you think they'll hold on to it? Do you hold on to things that are of value? Yes. But if it's not of value, do you hold on to it? No, it typically ends up at Goodwill or it ends up in the trash or somewhere along the line. Make people value your card. And the only way they're going to value it is for you to value it enough to say, I don't just give it to everyone. I only give it to people that ask. Do you think that would make a difference in the way that they receive you and receive that card? Yes? More importantly, do you think that it will make a difference in the way you present your card? Absolutely. I have a card, and when I present it, I take it very important to me that this is my card and this says something about me. So it's not just a piece of paper. I make my card a little bit different than the average card. Why? Because I want it to stand out a little bit differently. But when I hand it to somebody, I know I'm handing it to somebody because they've asked for it. Not because it's just another piece of paper and I just pass it out. How many of you guys, what would change for your life if you made a really great connection in the next 30 days? What would change?
Potential good sale.
Potential good sale, okay. What else? How many of you guys are looking for better and deeper relationships? Okay. Jim Rohn made another great statement. He said that you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most amount of your time with. The average what? You name it. The average income, the average health, the average relationship, average spiritual connection, average contribution factor. Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, those guys hang out. Why? Because they both give a lot of money away. Like attracts like. We all know the statement, right? So when you stop and think about it, if you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most amount of your time with, think about the 5 people you spend the most amount of your time with that aren't your family, because those you spend time with because they're your family and you live together. But think about when you have time to just go off and who are the 5 people you spend the most amount of your time with? And here's what you'll find is you're the average somewhere of that in the middle of those 5 people. Health-wise, do gym rats hang out with obese people? Not typically. They hang out with other gym rats. Do divorced people hang out with divorced people and married people hang out with married people? Normally, relationally. Economically, do people who have zero money and are living in total destitute, do they hang out with people who are living in very affluent neighborhoods? No, why? Because it's just the way it works. It's a law. And unfortunately, if you don't understand that, then you start hanging out with people and you become the average of those 5 people, and then you wonder why your life is not where you want it to be. Because you lived a life by default. So when you're looking for a connection, if you make the right connection, what does it change in your life? Only everything. Only everything. You know, I was talking to somebody the other day, and they were wanting to meet a girl, and it was a younger guy, and he goes, I just want to meet a really good girl. And I go, okay, but then you got to stop hanging out in the places where only the bad girls hang out. And he's like, well, that makes sense. And I said, and you know what? I said, and more important than that, you want to know what's more important than that? He said, what? I said, what's more important than that is you got to become a guy. Sorry. Yeah, that wouldn't have gone over well. You got to become a guy that kind of girl will want to be with. Otherwise, when you meet her, she's going to blow you off anyways, and it won't matter that you met her. See, we've got to be that same way in our business. How many of you are in business for yourself? Okay, how many of you need more clients? Let me just tell you this right off the bat, you'll attract that type of client. But if you don't have a criteria for those type of clients, you'll just keep attracting the same kind of clients you have right now, or the same level of clients, or the same amount of clients that you have right now. Focus on changing you. When you change, everything else changes. When I look at a circle and I put me in the middle, or you put you in the middle, everything in your life surrounds that. But what changes when you go to work on just your career? Your career. But when you go to work on you, the center of the universe, when you go to work on you, literally everything in your life changes simultaneously. It becomes affected. So that connection is so important. But the connection's got to be with you first. You know, when you look in the morning, you know what I'm talking about? You look in the morning and you go, wow, it's one of those days. I don't feel that good. Or you look in the mirror and you go, man, this is going to be a great day. How many of you guys know what I'm talking about? There's both of those days, right, exist in our universe. Sometimes we wake up feeling absolutely empowered. Here's the problem with this whole thought about connecting. And I've got to say this because this is the foundation for connecting. And I know some of you guys know, I want to learn how to just shake hands better and do all this. I got to teach you the foundation first. It's like building a house on a foundation that's not poured for the house. It's going to fall apart. So the foundation is your belief system. When I go to meet somebody, here's my belief when I'm going to connect somebody. What's your name?
Jeff.
Jeff. Bob, nice to meet you, sir. When I go to meet Jeff, my agenda does not matter. His does. See, because if I don't connect with him, it's just another missed opportunity to make an impact on someone's life. So when I meet Jeff, my whole focus about Jeff is, one, staying totally present to Jeff. Have you ever had somebody engage in a conversation where you feel totally present with that person? I was in a meeting with a guy who had 45, he was doing a seminar, and he had 45 people swirling around trying to get his attention. And he walked up to me and he says, hi, I'm Scott.
Eric.
Hi, nice to meet you. So, tell me something about yourself that I couldn't find on Facebook.
Not on Facebook.
Not on Facebook. Good for you. If you were on Facebook.
That is not. I like to play tennis.
I like to play tennis. Okay, awesome. So, when he started this conversation, his conversation never left right here. When I met Scott, his conversation was 45 people are trying to get his attention. Hey, Scott, Scott. The conversation was right here. People could tug at him. People could come up and stand right here trying to get his attention. And his conversation was here. First rule of connecting is be present. Be present where you are. You know, I know we've all got busy lives. We've all got stuff going on. We got things going on that, you know, a lot of us wish weren't going on in our lives today. We wish we could change some of those things. But you know, at the moment that you're in connection with somebody, at least for that moment, at least for that 5 minutes or whatever it is, just act like nothing else matters except the person you're talking to. One of the greatest people that, Scott was a great gift at that, but another person was Garth Brooks. How many of you guys know Garth Brooks? Garth Brooks, one of the greatest human beings I've ever met in my life. I've spent a few times with him. And 15 years ago, I was driving down the road and I witnessed a car accident. How many of you guys have ever witnessed a car accident? See, and you go, you just can't even gather the thoughts to say what you're thinking because like you see it about to unfold and you don't know what to say. Well, this was a little bit different because in that car that was having an accident was my 3-year-old daughter, Macy. And I could see it about to unfold. There was nothing I could do. I'm watching, knowing this could end up very badly. And I pulled her out of the car because she wasn't breathing, and I breathed for her until the paramedics got there. But she died. And I don't share that for sympathy. What I share that for is to help you understand that the importance of a connection is so important because you never know what's going to happen next. And many of you have lost loved ones. And I'm not the only one in the room, and I'm not pretending that I am. I'm just saying, remember that time. So I wrote on the back of a business card after that accident, lost everything I owned. I was living in my car. And on the back of a business card, living in my car, I wrote the song The Dance from Garth Brooks. And part of it says, yes, my life is better left to chance. I could have missed the pain, but I'd have had to miss the dance. And underneath that, I wrote, Macy, you're the one dance I would never wish to miss, no matter how short the song was. And I said, I'm going to give this to Garth Brooks one day. Never met him. Gone to a lot of events where he could have been. Never saw him. I work with a lot of celebrities. Never met him. 3 years goes by, and I'm called to go to work on the set of a show in Las Vegas. And they said, hey, could you come out and help us with some of the celebrities? I said, sure. I get there. It's day of rehearsal. We're working on a couple things, and all of a sudden they said, Mr. Garth Brooks, please come to the stage for rehearsal. I went, wow. Here's my chance. So I walked up, and he was just finishing rehearsal, and he came walking down the steps. And as he was walking down the steps, I just reached in my pocket because I had that card in my wallet. And I carried it in my wallet for 3 years, right? So I handed it to him. I said, Garth, could I just have a minute? And he said, sure. I handed him the card, and he went like this. We need to talk. I said, yeah, we do. We spent the next 45 minutes, again, we're in a crowded arena where people are rehearsing and lighting and sound and everybody and all these people are running. And for 45 minutes, our conversation was something like this. Bob, I am so sorry. How old was she? She was 3. How did it happen? Bob, do you have any other kids? How old are they? What are their names? How are they dealing with this? For 45 minutes, he had an innate value in me that even I didn't have in myself. He had a complete awareness of who I was in that given moment beyond what I could even know. Now, I've been around celebrities for 25 years. They don't affect me. This affected me. I was crying. I was emotional. I said, Garth, I'm around people like you all the time. This has never happened. And he goes, Bob, this is an emotional time. This is an emotional subject, and we're both men sharing an emotional moment. And for 45 minutes, he made me feel like nothing else mattered. If you want a client, you want a cheerleader, you want somebody that's absolutely the most head over heels, passionate person about you in life, make them feel like they're the only thing that matters when you're with them. I make my clients feel like there's nothing else that matters. As a matter of fact, I tell my clients frequently, if I'm engaged talking to somebody, please don't come up and stand there and expect to get my attention. You won't get my attention. I will ignore you, and you will feel ignored, and it won't be because I'm ignoring you, but it's because I'm giving total attention to the person I'm engaged with. Learn to be that present with the person you're talking to. It will change your ability to connect. So, when I'm going to make a presentation or when I want to meet somebody, my agenda doesn't matter. Theirs does. What do they want out of this? One, I know that one of the 6 basic human needs is significance. So how do I make them feel significant? And I'm not talking about kissing their ass, and I'm not talking about, just blowing smoke. I'm talking about how do I make them feel significant? It can be a gentle thing, like your hair looks nice today. It could be that, I love your top. It can be those kind of things. But what if we could find more creative ways that let them know that it wasn't what they wore, and it wasn't how they looked, and yet they were still significant? What would that change in your relationship building with them? Only everything. It will change everything. So if you're looking to make a great connection with somebody, and you understand the importance of it, one, you have to take your agenda off the table. It's their agenda that matters. How do I make them get what they want out of the transaction. You know, Zig Ziglar made a great statement. He said, and most of you probably know it, he said, you can have anything you want in life if what? You help enough people get what they want. Well, if that's the way it works, then that presupposes another statement. I can have anything I want in life that I want if I help enough people get what they want. Then that presupposes if I don't have what I want right now, then what does that mean?
Other people don't either.
I haven't helped enough people get what they want. So if you're looking, is there an area of your life that you wish was better? Yes? Anyone? Okay, who doesn't want their life to be better than it is right now? Good. If there's an area of your life that you want to be better, let me just throw that scenario out. The reason you don't have the life that you want in that specific area of your life, the health, the finances, the relationship, the business, the reason you don't have the results that you want is because you haven't helped enough people get what they want first in that area. In that area. I'm not saying you're selfish in every area, but there's certain areas that you're not getting the results you want, and it's 99.9% of the time because you haven't helped enough people get what they want in that area first. So when you're looking at health, when you're looking at relationships, you know, I know I've been speaking for since I was 15 years old. And one thing I learned was that there's 3 subject matters that if I talk on those 3 subject matters, I guarantee everyone in the room will respond that they want one of those areas to be better. What do you think they are? Health, relationship, and money. All I have to do, watch this, all I have to do as a speaker, and if you ever speak, just learn, this is a great tip for you. If you ever speak, here's the thing. All you have to do is say, you know what I'm going to teach you today will help you. I can guarantee it in one of these 3 areas. It'll help you have a better relationship, it'll help you make more money, or it'll give you better health. And I guarantee that everyone in the room would go, I want that. They would want one of them, if not all 3. So learn to have a universal message when you're talking to somebody, to connect with somebody. Help them understand that you get it. That what they want is beyond just what you think they want, or you're telling them what they want, but you're getting the fact that they're a human being and they have human needs, and you're going to address those human needs in the conversation. So when I had that meeting with Garth, I've had a couple of ones after that, I had another meeting with a guy named Tim McGraw. Okay, I know it's country music, but two of them, 2 back to back. But with Tim McGraw, it was a different scenario. I really respect a lot of his philanthropy. I respect a lot of the things that he does for people. And so I met him, and at dinner, he was having lunch in a restaurant. I'd met him a few years before, but he didn't remember that, of course. So at lunch, I just sent over a note via a waitress, and I said, hey, Tim, you've been such a blessing to others. It's my turn to bless you. Lunch is on me. He had a bandmate with him. Folded up the card, handed it to the waitress, and said, could you take it over to the guy in the ball cap? She's like, oh, sure. She didn't recognize him. He was in a ball cap and sunglasses. She walks over and hands it to him. He looks across the restaurant, waves. That's it. Now, what was I doing there? My position was just to let him know that I acknowledge the fact that he's helped a lot of other people, that he's been a blessing to other people. And I'm not expecting anything in return. But when you deal with great people, they do great things. So I'm sitting at a restaurant across the room from him. I have about 5 or 6 clients and prospects with me. We're sitting at the table, and at the end of his lunch, he walks over to me and he goes, hey, Bob, it's great to see you again. Want to introduce me to your friends? What do you think my relevancy at that table did? It skyrocketed. The difference between manipulation and influence, let me tell you this. I influenced him, I didn't manipulate him. The difference between manipulation and influence is intention. Was my intention to get him to come over to my table? No. But boy, it was just sure nice. It was sure nice a bonus. It was a great bonus. But it was influence. When you're connecting with people, well, I'm sorry, I can't see your name. Steve? Steve and Karen. Okay, I got both now. That was a twofer.
2 connections.
2 connections into 1. So, Steve, we've had a couple of eye connections, right? And we've acknowledged each other. We've seen each other. It's clear that we've seen each other. Now, some people, that's enough. Some people, if they just got seen, I'm telling you, their whole day gets better. How many of you just feel like sometimes you just want to be seen? You just want somebody, wow, see that, hey, I'm here. And then there's other times when, Steve might have one of those days where he wants some human interaction and some connection. And we have a connection, we talk for a few minutes. And we talk about what? Do we talk about business? No. Make business your last topic.
Country music.
Country music, yeah. All right, who's your favorite artist?
I like a lot of them.
Do you? Yeah. There's some great ones. But when you meet with somebody and you're connecting with somebody, you connect with things that are important to them first and you second. But you know what the thing is just because if he liked country music and I didn't, I don't have to act like I like country music. I do. I love country music. But I wouldn't have to act like I liked country music. Because I'm a human being. I don't have to like everything that everybody else likes. And I can still make a connection. See, here's the problem. Most people feel like I'm going to lose connection, I'm going to lose rapport if I don't like everything they like. And that's the opposite. Matter of fact, there's a great statement on the show House. How many of you guys ever watched the show House? House, Dr. House, he's sitting there and he does the whole show, the whole season is always about who's going to be his protege the next year type of thing, who's going to be, his guest, the person that's going to be by his side. And it goes through this whole thing, and there's this one guy that's just kissing his butt the whole time, just kissing his butt, kissing him. And they're like, well, we know who's going to win this one. This guy's going to win. And at the end, Dr. House picks somebody else. And they're like, wait, why did you not pick him? I mean, he's like exactly like you. He answers everything the way you answer it. And before Dr. House could make a statement, the guy who didn't get selected, who everyone thought was going to get selected, he says, well, I know why. He said it's because Dr. House doesn't need another Dr. House. He needs somebody different. He needs a different perspective. See, how many of you guys ever hired a coach, either professionally for business or for health or for, whatever it is, sports? The difference in a coach isn't because they know how to play the game better or that they're better at the game than you. The benefit of a coach is that they see the field of play from a different perspective than you do when you're on the court or when you're in the middle of business or you're in the middle of a football game. They just see it from a different perspective. That's what most of us need about our connecting with people. If we realize that the importance of connecting with somebody, that if I didn't make a connection, what's your name? Jay. Jay, if I didn't make a connection with Jay, if I didn't, that the odds or the possibility that he might take his own life, it would change the way I approach Jay. It would change the manner in which I respond and converse with him. Because I would realize the significance of that connection. And if you're just going about making connections by just walking by, hey, how you doing? Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. Hey, how you doing? I'm telling you, it's because you haven't changed your perspective on the importance of a great connection. How many of you guys like Will Smith? Will Smith. I've seen him, we've been in the same room 3 times, and we've had different experiences, but they've all been very similar. And here's the reason I share it, is because every one of us needs an example. We need somebody who can model something to us that maybe we haven't seen modeled. The reason that you are the person you are today is probably because a lot of that was modeled to you. One of the experiences was I was at the Grammys in the green room. And the green room's where the celebrities wait before they go on stage, and they're back there having their drinks of, whatever, and hanging out. And they're just social, and they're talking. But here's what Will does. He's not in the room yet, but there's all these one-hit wonders. Do you know what I'm talking about? Those guys that are super rappers, one song, and then you never see them again. Well, this room was full of these, for lack of a better term, thugs. I mean, they were just thugs. But they're sitting there. And they've all got their sunglasses on. You're in a room, sunglasses on, big trench coats over there. I'm like, what is up with these people? Are you kidding me? There's no connection in this room whatsoever. These people are being so obnoxious towards each other. They're just not even giving each other the time of day. I'm thinking, this is the wrong room to be in before I'm going to walk up on stage. And I'm thinking, I wouldn't want to be in this room. So I'm standing there, and all of a sudden Will Smith walks in, and he literally does this. He opens the door, walks in, and he goes, hey, how are you? Great to see you. And he wraps over and shakes and hugs this person. Obviously, he knew, he goes, hey, I'm Will Smith. What's your name?
Lindsay.
Lindsay. Nice to meet you. Hi, I'm Will Smith. Hi, Nice to meet you. Oh, hey, great to see you again. Literally walks around the room, takes him about 3 to 4 minutes to walk around the room, introducing himself to people he doesn't know, shaking hands and hugging people that he does know. And in 3 to 5 minutes, that room was transformed like that. It literally changed the dynamics of the entire room like that. In connecting, you've got to understand what Will Smith understood that day and what he taught me was that you don't become the room. You don't become the environment. The environment adapts to you. The environment adapts to you. Matter of fact, it's called leading and pacing. Have you ever been walking with somebody and they start to slow down, and what do? You slow down. Then they speed up, and you do what? Speed up. You're either a leader or the follower. You get to set the pace, or you go to somebody else's pace. Same with connection. Same with every aspect of your life. You're either leading or following. You're either setting the pace or letting someone else set it for you. When it comes to connection, the information I shared with you already will be information that if you just apply it, you'll have better connections. And those connections will translate into dollars. Those connections will translate into better relationships. Those connections will translate into more business opportunities. So that being said, I'm going to tell you 2 things really quick because I got 3 minutes now. I'm going to tell you 2 things real quick. One is that my assistant Amber back there, say hi, Amber. Amber has a card that if you go to her and ask for it, if you want to come to a free 2-hour event here in Santa Ana that I'll be doing, it's going to be a small group, 30, 40, 50 people. But it's going to be a small group. It's going to be 2 hours where we're going to give you more information and better, strategies so that you can actually do it yourself for helping your clients or yourself. She'll give you the postcard. It's got the date, the time, everything on it. It's the 28th of this month. It's this month. This Thursday.
Coming Thursday from 10 a.m. to noon.
10 a.m. to noon. So you can pick that up. Come as my guest. There's no charge. If you want a 20-minute strategy session, just one-on-one, you and me on the phone, give her your business card. She'll fold it. And that will let me know that we're going to call you and set up a 20-minute consultation where we just give you a strategy session. Look, you just say, here's what I want. I want better personal relationships, or I want better professional relationships. Or I want to meet more clients that I need to meet, but I need to meet more of them. And I need to meet better clients. You tell me what it is. We'll develop a strategy to help you do it, and we'll do it in 20 minutes. I believe in laser-focused coaching. When I coach, I don't spend a lot of time on story. I just say, what do you want? And then let's put together a strategy about it. Because otherwise what we do is we spend a lot of our time talking about the problem when really what we should be doing is focusing on the solution. So that being said, I'm going to tell you this. My son was walking through a park and he got jumped by 3 people. And they beat him up pretty bad. They robbed him. They shoved him on the ground. They started stomping on his head, kicking him. Then they lifted him up, and one on each side and a guy in front of him, and they said, cut his effing throat. And my son said at that moment, he just knew that was not the outcome. I mean, he did everything he had to do to get away. He, kicked, bit, screamed, whatever he did, and he got away. And as he got away, he got to somebody's house, and he says, I need to call the police. I need to call my dad. And he had been stabbed in the back, and they thought it punctured his lung, but it didn't. His orbital socket was almost caved in, and they had a hairline fracture on his jaw. The police took him aside, and they were talking to him, and they said, tell us what happened. So he tells them what happened, and the officer literally says to him, he says, son, there's only one reason you're here right now to tell me this story. It's because your will to live was greater than their desire to kill you. Your will to connect with another human being is going to be life-changing for you and for them. And it's got to be, your will has got to be more engaging and stronger than their desire to just get by with another chance meeting. But when you make it about them, you'll watch. They'll become all in. When you make it about them. And if you are ever nervous, and I close with this, if you're ever nervous or worried, or when you start to approach somebody, you start to get sweaty hands, or you start to, get just nervous, you know what I'm talking about? If you ever get that way, just step back and just say, oh, I'm making this about me now. Because I'm concerned that they're not going to like me. I'm concerned that they're going to, not smile. They're not going to engage with me. They're not going to want to be with me. They're not going to want to talk to me. I'm making it about me. Because when you make it about them, none of that matters. See, when I stand up here and talk to you and I make it about you, what can I give to them that when they leave here, they become better human beings? They become better versions of themselves. Then it's not about whether you buy from me. It's not about whether you want to date me. It's not about whether you want to go out and have dinner. None of that's on the table. The only thing on the table is, what can I share with this group of people so that when they leave here, they become better human beings for the rest of the world to enjoy? Because when you operate from less than 100% of who you are, the rest of us operate from a deficit. And when I'm not being the best version of me, trust me, you do pay a consequence for that. Ask your plumber, or ask your mechanic, or ask your heart surgeon to work on you when he's having a bad day. If you knew he was having a bad day, you'd probably pick a different surgeon, right? Because when they're not operating at their best, you and I do suffer a consequence. So that being said, I invite you to come on Thursday. I invite you for the 20-minute free consultation. Again, it's going to be 20 minutes, laser. How do you make better connections? All you have to do is say personal or professional, and here's what I want. I need to make better connections, personally or professionally. And by better, here's what I mean. I need more clients that will buy, rather than buyers who keep telling me the same old story. I don't have enough money. I need to think about it, all the other stuff. So that being said, you guys go see Amber. I really appreciate your time. I thank you for your attentiveness. And go out here and really say, how can I become the next best version of myself so that I make an even greater contribution to the people that I will encounter today. Thank you.